Big Bang for the longest time. And 5 years ago, when I fell into the flat Earth thing, I thought it was crazy. 30 minutes, I was done. Okay, and then I've been, I've found my Creator through this. Okay, and I've been repenting every day, just trying to do things right and come out here.
Creator.
He's the Creator, the one and only Creator. There's no other. It's her Creator, your Creator, everyone's Creator. But that's just my look on it. I don't believe in one. I know there's one for myself. That's all.
There has to be, only because everything has a creator. Like that person that created and built that structure or that building, he created that.
Let me ask you this. So do y'all not believe that there's a cycle that goes on with that energy? So when you said there's one and only creator, there has to be a beginning for everything. How did that begin to get here? Do y'all question things like that?
We do. We question everything, actually.
If someone created our Creator, then he's not the Creator.
Okay, so my thing is, that brings a great point. I guess, I'll keep that to myself.
It's called an infinite regress fallacy when you try to say there's a creators. No, there's only one. If you keep going back to try to say, who created him, it's called an infinite regress fallacy.
Let me ask you this then, too, since y'all believe in the Bible.
I don't believe in them. I couldn't get past the seventh day.
Okay.
I couldn't. I went to a private college for Baptist college, and I had to reread it 5 years ago. I couldn't get past the seventh day. I knew.
How often are y'all out here?
Every week.
I don't believe in religion.
Come out here every Wednesday.
Yeah.
No.
Every Saturday.
Usually Saturdays.
Are y'all gonna be out here next Saturday?
This Saturday, no. Next Saturday.
Following Saturday?
We'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Go to YouTube, That Flat Fellow.
I might bring
Sub to
somebody
him.
with me.
Please do. Yes.
Bring some of your scientists, your teachers of
I'm about to
science.
say.
And please,
Can't say we're scientists.
that's right.
I have
We are
fallen
all
away
scientists.
from the religion side of it. Religion being, Baptist, Catholic, and that kind of thing. I have no religion. I'm just strictly a believer of the Word, which is the Creator, the Word. As a matter of fact, the reason what sold me is in the beginning of Genesis in the Bible, it does tell how he created the earth, and it is depicted a flat earth with a firmament dome above it. So, and that the sun and the moon is placed inside of the firmament above us, almost like a timepiece, like a watch.
A quick science project for you right there. Go ahead,
here.
Tommy.
This is a science project with two balls. So we're going to pretend this is the Earth and this is the Sun. This black line
30
represents
seconds.
noon. And let's go ahead and represent...
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Okay, this black line represents noon because it's facing the sun, correct? We got the 33-degree tilt. So this black line's facing the sun, so it says it tilts at 33 degrees. But we'll go with that for now. So at noon, it faces the sun, and this black line's going to represent noon. So at 24 hours later, it's spun all the way back around, and it's noon again because it's facing the sun, correct? And it keeps spinning at the same speed. So at noon every single day, this black line is facing the left, no matter what, because this rotates at the same speed. But 180 days from now, the Earth is now on this side of the sun. This can maintain the same speed. So now it's at noon. The black line, which is noon, is facing away from the sun. So how's it daylight? And if you reverse back to day one, if you're on this side where it's dark and you look off and you see constellations and stuff over here, when you're over here now, when it's dark.
So what do you, since y'all say the Earth is flat, explain, I'm talking about some of this and
Yeah, this is not real. This is just what's taught in school.
So, okay, I get you, but tell me about your hypothesis on the Earth being flat with the sun being involved.
Okay.
You told me that it fades out.
So
One other thing really quick while he's doing that, if you look over here to the right, you can actually see the moon. You shouldn't be able to do that during the day because science says that the moon is reflecting light from the sun. But one thing that I can show you in the Bible that it says that God made two great lights, one for the day, one for the night. So it just contradicts itself of what science is saying and what the Word is saying. I'm not saying you have to believe the Word, but if you read it and you decipher it yourself, you can decide, you know what, that doesn't make sense. Or, yeah, you know what, that does make sense. It really coincides with this over here. So that's why I tell people, like, you shouldn't be able to see the moon there. And what I've learned through my research, the moon moon is he. The moon depicts itself as a he, like a male form, and the male a woman's form, and she sheds her light like a woman does monthly every 30 days. She sheds.
That's
her
what our
light.
cycle's based on. I know.
Yes, ma'am. So that's why the moon is called a she. And so
But you just said it was a he.
no, the
mistake.
moon is a she, the sun
Mistake.
is a he.
She said female. She wanted to say female, but she said male. You're
Did
right.
I? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry I confused you. But yes, the male being a he of the sun and the moon being a she.
Yes. That
Okay,
makes more sense.
we got
Okay.
it.
Yes.
I was gonna catch her.
And
Don't worry.
the moon sheds its light every month as a cycle, like a woman does. And then when she's invisible, then the next day she has a new moon, and her light cycle starts all over again.
I believe that part. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
but see,
Ashley.
science teaches us totally different stuff. And so when we go to actually, because at first I was not having no flat earth, nothing. No.
Well,
I
you
didn't
know, to
wanna
be honest
hear
with you,
about
I don't
it.
debunk anything. I
Yeah.
just take it as a grain of salt. I just try to take in as much knowledge as I can.
Right.
So you caught my attention even though I was gonna
Try to
walk by.
debunk it. Try to debunk it. Try to
we
debunk
tried
it.
to debunk it. We're like, you know what? That's not true. I've been taught this. So then we went to go to try to debunk it. Everything didn't match up or pair
Okay,
up.
but you still didn't explain to me what happens to the sun. You said since it's flat and it fades out.
It goes out of our perspective, out of our view.
Why?
Because during those seasons, it starts
She
in the middle
she wants
of the
a certain
sun.
answer. Light doesn't travel forever. That's
right,
what she wants.
out of our perspective.
It
Light
disappeared because the light stopped going that far. That's
What do you
she-
mean light stop going that far?
You just said why it fade away. It
Yeah,
just
you said-
disappears.
Sun goes, it never sets.
What do you mean it goes?
It goes out of our perspective, out of
our
sight.
range.
We can only see so far. If we take a magnifying lens, such as on a camera, and we can pan it right back into our vision,
You will see it again.
and we can
Just-
see it come
But-
back
but
again.
why?
It never went over the curvature
Perspective.
of set.
But why?
Just like a car headlight, the farther you move away from it,
I get
okay?
that, but
Because
why?
our eyes are limited to see, and light doesn't travel
if you just
forever.
said it was flat, we should be able to see
Light
it.
doesn't travel forever.
So is the Earth spinning while it's flat?
No,
It's just flat. It's not spinning.
Not spinning
our
at
Creator
all.
made this a flat and stationary plane, and everything else revolves around us.
Another thing it says is the Earth is stationary.
So
and
everything
it's
else is
not moving.
revolving. So that means
Above us. Have you ever been to a planetarium?
Yes.
Notice that anywhere you go, that the constellations are fairly the same. They're just maybe off a degree or two.
Yeah.
And so I'm holding this, and from your perspective on that side, you're seeing it like this, but I'm seeing it upside
different way,
down.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
So if there's a 6 here, you're going to see a 9, and I'm going to see
Yes.
6. So it's a different perspective of the angle that you're at.
Yes.
And also the
The
sun,
moon is the same way.
the
But
sun,
It's not make. It still doesn't make sense.
right? See the sun, you can see the light, right? And it goes around like this.
Like a clock, like a
Ca-
So the
timepiece.
sun is moving. That's what I was asking.
And
you.
Yes.
the
That's
moon
what I was asking you.
Yes.
above us.
Yes, it goes
And-
in a circle.
It's
So
called
if it's-
circumnavigation.
So this is be the flat Earth. Put
It's
like
not
this.
93 million miles away.
No,
it
it
is
is not.
relatively
It's very
close
close. As a matter
because
of
you're
fact,
bringing
I'm
up.
really feeling
If it's
that
93 million
sun
miles
on the
away,
back of my
everything will be
legs.
bright, right?
Yeah.
But when it's close, that's how you get that dark in one area and light on the other area, half and half, like a yin yang.
Yang.
Yeah. That's what she's trying to see.
Right. And like another thing that will blow your mind, what I did, is a rainbow. A rainbow has to have it reflects off of something. And
Yes.
so the reason why it takes the shape that it does is because it is reflecting off of the dome that we're in. We believe that we
What
live.
dome?
We believe that we live inside a terrarium, almost like a snow globe. We cannot
Might be true.
see. Yeah.
Might be true.
Because
Right.
if you look at it, everything is self-sufficient, almost kind of like a cycle, a water cycle, you know? And so we're self-sufficient inside of a dome, almost kind of like a greenhouse, almost kind of like a, you guys
Like
have
you
like
said
a,
it, you
a
said-
terrarium.
It's a terrarium, that's it.
Yeah, because it's
So do y'all believe in
self-sufficient.
like the climate change and all of that?
Not so much, no.
So you don't think?
I believe the government's involved in
Oh,
that.
that's true,
Fake
but-
news, yeah.
There's cycles there.
Like a
It's all
matter of
cycles.
fact, if you look up into the skies, they really chemtrailed us heavy today.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And so we believe it. We don't.
Why do you
only
think they chemtrailed us?
slow count? slow pill.
here's
you
a-
know, to 90% of Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients, when their blood is tested and their brain and stuff is tested, they find aluminum and mercury, all the things they're spraying in the sky, barium, all of these chemicals that don't belong in our body, and that is why they're making us docile. Like the fluoride that's in our water and our toothpaste.
Chlorine.
It's not necessary for us to have these things in there for us to brush our teeth with. We have natural.
I use neem. I don't use.
There you go. See, you're already on that start of waking up to the lies, and so we just come out here and we plant seeds for people not to we don't want people to believe us. We want you to go and do your own research and look into it and say, you know what?
This is interesting.
Yeah, and I'm glad you think so, because that's what we're out here for, to spread the truth and to let people know that.
Yeah, here's a
world
science
we live
question
in.
for you too. How can you have gas pressure next to a vacuum without
Yes, ma'am.
a container or a barrier? A gas pressure next to a vacuum without a barrier.
Oh, heavens, we don't know.
That's mine.
Other
Okay.
heads off.
How can you have gas pressure next to a vacuum without a barrier in between it?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, I'm just
You
saying.
can't.
Well, see, science tells you we're on a rock with water around it, a spinning rock, ball of rock with water around it, next to a vacuum with an atmosphere around it, right? Next to a vacuum of infinite space without a barrier. So how that disproves all the moon landings, all your NASA rockets,
Okay,
everything.
say it slow for me though, because I really want to understand
Right.
it.
How can you have gas pressure?
Which is our atmosphere. Gotcha.
That's right next to the sky
the
vacuum,
vacuum in space. Okay.
right? Without a barrier of some sort, because it will suck it up, right? Or it'll not suck it up, but it will go into fill the
Vacuum.
vacuum, the
Yeah.
void of space,
Yeah.
right? How can you have that? But that's what your science teacher's telling you, that it's possible, because they're teaching you to teach the globe.
Yeah.
Another thing is that the Earth is 71% water. Water always forms to the container that it's in
Yes.
and seeks level, flat.
On the surface.
When it's untouched.
And we are how many percent of the
if
earth is water?
71% water of the Earth, our observation tells us that the Earth should be flat, or is flat. We know that it's flat by our research. Most of us here have been at this for maybe five and a half.
You know, that's very interesting, because
Yes,
I'm glad you brought that up. That is interesting, because these are questions that people don't ask. Like, why don't the water go in space? Or why don't
And
it flow
another something
backwards?
that will blow your mind is that us as a human body, we're also 71% water, and our body acts as a container to hold the water that it's in. So that's how God, or the Creator, created us. He must have created the earth in a similar fashion.
image.
In His image.
Its image.
Yes, its image. We can say it's,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're just trying to wake people up with these things that we found out, because it became
You
a
definitely
life.
planted the seeds. Y'all definitely did.
So
No,
happy.
you already had it.
We're so
You
happy
had
for
it.
that.
Yeah.
We just put
Really,
water
it's been
to
in
it.
Y'all did. Y'all put it in motion.
We sure did.
I'm bringing somebody out here, not next Saturday, but she kind of she's a new
11.
teacher at our
Tell
school,
her.
but she actually has a lot of questions that I feed her, a lot of information that's on the same path as a conspiracy.
My
But anyway,
son here, back here, he's kind of, he's 16 years
With
old.
the hat?
He's 16.
no,
and
wait, oh, the little one. Okay, I was about to say this guy does not look.
No, not
He does not look sick.
And last year, this year he's in 11th grade. So, and in 10th grade, he took geometry, and he brought up a worksheet home, and at the top of the worksheet it said that there is no flat surface on a sphere. Yeah, according to the geometry mathematical equations, there's a face has no sphere.
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
So
A spear is no flat surface.
right,
Got you.
because according to a face is a flat surface, and a sphere has no face. So it has no flat surface. So this is what I tell people all the time. We have to observe. We observe that we live on a flat earth, but we have to imagine that we live on a sphere globe Earth, that water sticks to it, and that we're spinning at 1,038 miles per hour
At the equator.
around, you know, the sun through space, infinite space. It just we don't feel that. We don't
Don't question it. We don't feel the.
yeah, like our senses are got, you know, our five senses we have. We don't sense that we live on a spinning earth, because, like, for instance, when we're going 100 miles per hour in the car with our windows up, we might not feel it too much. We might feel it some, but we roll the windows down, there comes the wind. We're feeling that we're going 100 miles an hour. But hey, if we live on an open spinning sphere ball, we should feel some sort of spin, but we don't. So that gets us to start questioning things. And we're not only out here to wake people up about the flat earth and the environment we live in. There's a whole slew of things that we actually research and look into, because we feel like we've been duped. We've been lied to as a human race that we need to wake people up to this, because, you know, people are just going around docile like this.
Though, but I'm glad that y'all out here. A lot of people probably won't catch on or whiff with y'all.
Absolutely.
You know,
we get mixed. Yeah, we sure do. He's actually he's super. He's out here almost every Saturday. He spends his time out here. Even sometimes he comes alone by himself.
That's good.
So whenever we have time, we like to try to support
My name's
him.
Tom.
Tommy, nice to meet you. I'm Ashley.
I'm La.
La, nice to meet
Christy.
you. Christy.
And your name?
Tommy, La, and Christy. I'm Ashley.
I'll be out here on
Ashley,
the
it was a
11th.
pleasure
Yes,
meeting
definitely.
you.
It's a pleasure meeting
January
y'all.
11th, you'll be out
January
here.
11th, I'll be out here.
It's on a
Monday
Saturday.
when you go back to school, I'm sure you got a globe in your classroom.
Look on the
You
bottom.
don't? All right. I'm sure the
I
school
teach
has.
the body, mainly life science. I don't really do.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody's got a globe in their classroom
Yeah,
at school.
definitely.
Go pick it up and look at the bottom of it and read it.
Made in China?
Nope.
The other
For
part.
educational purposes.
No.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
decorative
Go
purposes
to
only.
Walmart, the ones they
It
sell.
says not for.
Educational purposes.
No.
For decorative purposes only.
Yes.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yes, ma'am.
Every globe says
Every
that.
Every
one
globe
of
says
them.
that.
You can look at grab.
And it says not for educational purposes.
We'll show you and prove you this one right now, and you go look and see.
Shut up.
Ashley,
I'm gonna go look. Y'all got
every one of
As a
them.
matter of fact, this might say it on here.
It does. We already looked.
Yes. Globes are not meant for educational purpose, but only decorative purpose. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, but you know it's funny that they
put it
always
right
put
in front of our
they do.
face.
They put the truth in front of us.
Right there.
In plain sight.
In plain sight. And they see they do that for a purpose, because they really think that as humans are so dumb and so stupid.
But
And
the
we
majority
basically
of
are.
No, we're not.
What we live on.
No, we're not.
Well, majority of them are, but we're not majority, are we, Law?
No, we've
We're
been
not majority.
awakened.
We
can
think
wake
outside
others.
the box. We don't conform to the little thing that they put us in. So
You know, and then I heard of something too. Now I don't know the complete truth, but what we perceive as north or south is actually reverse. Have y'all heard of that? No.
they
Don't-
believe that Polaris is directly in the middle of the flat Earth. That is not the actual north, and that's Polaris is not the actual north. It's just the North Star.
It's the
where
northern star,
it's
right.
magnetic. They still believe that the Earth, the flat Earth, activates off of electromagnetism,
And then
buoyancy, and density.
Mount Meru, have you ever heard of
Because you
that?
can't.
Say it
Not
again.
rumor.
So why you don't believe in gravity? Why you don't?
Gravity is just a theory that hasn't been able to be proven
yeah.
over and over again.
Gotcha.
It's just a scientific name that they gave to buoyancy and density. We are electromagnetism. We are frequency. Our body runs off of that.
Yeah.
Like if I take a balloon and I'm like this on my
Yeah,
head, my
gotcha.
hair will stand up because we are electromagnetism. If I scooch across some carpeted floor and I touch you or shake your hand, I'm going to shock you.
Yeah.
Because we are electromagnetism. The whole world, the Earth itself is frequency and
It
electromagnetism.
has to work like that. It can't work the way they say on a globe.
No.
They say the electromagnetic field comes from the core of the Earth. Well, they also say the core of the Earth is made of liquid iron, molten iron, correct? You know what a Curie point is? A Curie point is the temperature at which a metal can no longer have an electromagnetic field. Well, the temperature of the center of the Earth is supposedly 10,800 degrees. The Curie point of iron is 1,500 degrees. So it cannot have a Curie point. It cannot produce it has a Curie point. It cannot produce a magnetic field
Once
because
you passed it.
the temperature is 7 times past
the point.
A plane never has to dip its nose to account for the curvature when they're flying. It literally actually levels out flat.
That's why it's
onto the
called an air
plane.
plane.
And sea level, because the sea is level. It's level and flat. It's not sea curve, because we have debunked over and over and over again the curvature, the calculations, the mathematical curvature, and what it's supposed to be.
Spherical
and it
geometry.
just doesn't. It's not there. There's no curvature accountability in where they're saying it is.
Another Earth being the side of our Earth.
I can only believe
Concave.
certain things. That's
Yeah, we can
So you
only.
don't think there's secret tunnels that's leading inside? That was another theory that the government is keeping us out of
Yes,
the
in
three.
Denver and things like that underground. Is that what you're saying? Or maybe
There's
in
one in
Antarctica.
the pyramids of Giza, Antarctica, and there's another one supposed to be the entrance
Yes.
to the.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd's journal.
Yes.
But we can't drill more than 8 miles down. So what is?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
And we cannot go up into the atmosphere because we know that gas pressure cannot exist to a vacuum, next to a vacuum, without a barrier.
It's actually called the Van Allen radiation belt, and NASA has admitted to not being able to penetrate that
Tommy.
at all.
The atmosphere?
Yes, it's a Van Allen radiation belt, and the temperatures there are just so hot that
It'll melt.
no
Man-made
man-made
metal or
or
none of
anything
that.
can withstand that type of heat. And so we caught them on tape, on video of them admitting that they've never been to space. They've only been to low Earth orbit. Well, you know what the low Earth orbit is? Just maybe how many feet would you say that's up?
That's like
Stratosphere.
120,000
I know they can't
feet.
go past the stratosphere,
Yeah,
Right.
there's different levels of that. And so
So now that NASA has admitted that, and to account for that emission, they have now said the atmosphere of the Earth extends beyond the moon, because they keep saying we went to the moon. So now if you go and look it up, they'll say the atmosphere of the Earth extends beyond the moon.
Wow.
And then my husband, oh my gosh, he just located this video of the conspiracy within conspiracy of everyone having to go along with what the president at that time was saying about going to the moon. He wanted to beat Russia.
I know that's why they had to fake that.
So they faked
Yeah,
it
I know
all.
that was fake.
They
yeah.
made paintings, they made videos inside of studios and all of these things.
So let me ask you this then. So the whole world's government are in cahoots together
Yes, ma'am.
to play. But if they were trying to be in competition, what sense would it make if we're working together?
They're not in competition.
They're not in competition.
They're all together.
There is
They
no
make it look
competition.
like a competition of like, oh, the wars start because this person says, you know what, I'm not
They
going
want
to
me
follow
to
what
hate
you
you
want me
because
to
you're a
do.
different color.
For what reason though? For what
Because if
reason?
they keep us fighting amongst
Uh-huh.
we don't
Okay,
team up to take over and burn.
They're not paying attention enough to the lies that they're doing. There's actually, if we looked into the research of it, and there's probably maybe about 5 or 6 families that they're elitists.
Yeah.
And they run everything.
Everything. The
They
1%.
own everything. Yes, ma'am. The 1%. And
The Rothbergers and the
they have
whatever
an
it's called.
agenda that they're no matter what. Now, no matter if we're out here spreading the truth, their agenda is going to happen whether or not people believe it is
So
or isn't.
how is it that they're able to 5 or 6 families? How are they able to control the masses like this?
First of all, is the indoctrination. So they print textbooks at 500% below the cost to actually manufacture them. So, and if a textbook costs me $100 to make, and I tell the school I'm selling textbooks for $105, I just want to make $5, and they go, all right, we're selling them for $20.
Who, the school or
Schools, the elites, say we'll sell you textbooks for $20 a piece. Now, who you think they're going to buy the textbooks from? They all come from the same place,
Yep.
and they can put whatever in it they want.
They
and once
put
the
the
kids,
version of the winner's version inside our history books. We only are taught and know what they want us to know. We don't know the full spectrum of everything. That's why they want to keep us conformed to this little indoctrination box. And you only believe
what
in
we tell you?
repetition.
What we put on TV?
Yes.
What we put on these gadgets?
Yes. So from kindergarten, even on the cartoons nowadays, they have this darn globe on there. Oh, let me just, subliminally show them this globe, and I keep feeding them the lies. But we're here to wake up the kids. My son's 16 years old. He goes to a certain a charter school in very small class. He's been going there since 5th grade.
That's best.
He started becoming a flat earther maybe around 8th grade, which was earth science, learning about the solar system and the planets and all these things. And he literally gave his teacher a run for his money because he said, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And a lot of times the teacher was like, Wesley, you know what, I really don't have an answer for you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's the truth.
And so yeah, he's
So we're not able to actually go into space. Nobody's
No,
ever
that's why in
able to see.
1961, the same time that the Antarctic Treaty was signed, there was a thing called Operation Fishbowl. They fired weapons at the sky, and back then, you know, not
There's
talking about
actual
not,
videos
yeah,
of it hitting the firmament itself, the dome
Yeah.
above us.
they were
Yes.
just launching nuclear weapons up in the sky over and over and over again at a time when
And
it was,
they saw
the
it?
cost was astronomical, and they could not break through the barrier.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what's funny is because this is crazy, but you know the Simpsons actually made a they movie based upon it, and
Yes.
all of their predictions have been kind of
Yes,
true anyway.
ma'am.
But they made one of it how we're in
the
the
flat Earth?
dome. No,
Yeah.
how we're in a dome.
Yeah.
Yes, and that same one is it shows Bart Simpson cracking the ball, breaking and hitting the dome, and all the water flowing in. And because the Bible says that he created a firmament between and separated the waters from above from the waters below. Okay, and so the firmament is holding out the water from above of the heavens, and there's windows in the firmament that where we get our winds and our rain and all of those things come from that.
Oh, from the cracks.
From
in
the windows that are in the firmament.
But if we
Of
get
how
our rain
theology
from there,
teaches
shouldn't it
us.
always be raining if there's always water above us?
No, because the clouds, and that's another thing, the clouds, they have estimated to be millions of pounds. If there's gravity, that should be pulling it down
Yeah.
because it's so heavy, right? And so when that happens, then the clouds absorb all the moisture and the rain, and then it's like a cycle again, like how we're in a terrarium because
So the clouds are being a sponge to the firmament, and
yes,
and that's
it
what
holds all the water, and then when they get too heavy, then it rains upon us. But then we have weather manipulation that our government is doing. They can make it rain. They have weather manipulation of what is called HARP.
I know about that.
Yeah, HARP. And so if they have a little inclination of weather starting up, they can aim this ion beam weapon, speed up the
Process.
Look at, like, do you remember, like, not too recently ago here in this area, we heard there must have been maybe 10 to 15 hurricanes right back to one another. That was all weather manipulation done by the government to get people to get out of certain locations that they wanted to take over the land for certain crops. If we told you the reason why we couldn't explore Antarctica was because there was vast more land, vast more gold and silver and all those things that they're hoarding, the elites are hoarding for themselves.
That's where they hold
And they could not for our ring charge us, thousands of dollars because they're so
everybody
infinite.
gets
Yeah,
it.
if it's so infinite, they couldn't make something.
That's why I
worth
don't
it.
wear diamonds, though. I don't like wearing diamonds because, I know they say they're rare, but they're really not rare.
They really are. I listened to this Jewish priest, and he still is a priest over in New York City at a synagogue there. He's so evil. The things that he says is evil. He says, if they knew how many diamonds I had in my pockets and how many, they would never pay $1,000 or for one little piece of diamond. There's so mass significance of them, such in this. But you just have to wake up to these lies, and we call it the rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit. It never ends.
No, it doesn't. It sure doesn't. Like we're sitting here and we got captured up in these things because
It's so much stuff here to
there's
talk
just
about.
so much, and you just your people are probably
They've been calling
All
me.
right.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
we need to
On the
Down
11th.
here, January 11th.
Okay,
We'll
are you
be
gonna be down here?
I'm gonna try
Your
to
whole
make
crew
it.
need to be here.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am. We sure will. We
I'm
look
trying
forward
work
to
on
it.
Okay.
All right, see you later, Ashley.
All right, y'all.
It was nice meeting you.
Good to meet you.
Have a blessed day.
Get in this truck.